This module is all about creating your bullet points and your description. Now, when you're creating your bullet points and your description, one of the things that you want to do is make sure you write short sentences. Don't do big, long run-on sentences. Remember, write this at about the 5th grade level. There's actually tools out there that you can check to see at what level your writing is, but write it about the 5th grade level. One of the great things that will really help you when you're doing your title and your bullets and your descriptions is the Scribbles tool from Helium 10. So make sure you go and you use that tool, because you're going to have your list of keywords, you're going to have your list of benefits and all your stuff. If you can put all that into Scribbles, and we'll make sure you don't miss a single thing. And so it's a great place. It's where I do all of my listings is into Scribbles, and then I save it out, so I have a copy on my hard drive just in case something goes wrong or goes bad later. And it's a great way to make sure no keywords get missed, nothing that you want to make sure is in your listing gets missed. But when you're doing your writing, make sure you write short sentences. Don't do really long sentences on your bullet points, especially. And make sure that you keep these to around 200, 250 characters max if you can. 400 will be the top 10. But try to do it around 200 to 250, which is basically 3 or 4 lines of copy at the maximum. If you can get it even shorter, you don't want to be super short. You want to have at least a couple lines there. Use capital letters for emphasis. So you can do this at the beginning. You'll see people put at the first 2, 3, 4 words, maybe all in capitals, or maybe even throughout the bullet points, so that people that are skimming, they'll just skim and see the capital words. And sometimes it's just a straight line, but you can also do like a zigzag because the eyes will follow it around. So maybe you have a 3 sentences in a bullet point, and maybe the first words are capitalized, and then like in the second sentence on the second line, a few words are capitalized. Just make sure it's not in a straight line, it's a zigzag, and sometimes that can help too. Now, most people are going to make their decisions on your title and your price and your photos. So the bullet points are more for the people that really want a little bit more details or need a little bit more convincing, or maybe your product is kind of technical and you need to actually share more information. And it's also good for the A9 algorithm. Another thing you can do is you can put your extra search terms in your bullet points in your description. These are the ones that didn't make it into your title, but they're still important, or maybe they're words that you're going to focus on later. You want to work these into your bullet points in your description. Now, it's not necessary to repeat keywords in there unless that just makes sense to. If it makes sense to, it's okay, but it's not necessary to. And when you're using the Scribbles tool, it'll actually tell you as you go what you've used, what you haven't used, and how many times you've used a word as well. It's really cool. If you go back and look at the module that Bradley and I did together, the introduction to the tools, you can see kind of how that works. Now, as far as keywords, I will sometimes repeat those in the back end on purpose. Amazon says you don't need to, but sometimes I do it anyway because I just have a feeling it sometimes helps. But we'll talk about that when we do the back end section. Now, make sure that you've organized the top 10 or 20 phrases that you're going to be going after, the top 10 or 20 keywords, and you have the top 3 or 4 that are in your title. And the rest of them are going to fill out your bullet points and description. So if you've come up with, say, 20 different keywords that you're going to be going after eventually, or you think are important, remember the top 3, 4, 5 of them are going to be aimed at your title. The rest of them you're going to try to fill in and make sure they're in phrase order, exact order. Somewhere in your bullet points, especially in your bullet points, your description is where I would put the last of them, the ones you just can't get into your bullet points. I would get them down in the description, because the bullet points do carry more weight, quite a bit more weight than the description does. So you want to try to get as many of them as possible in there. Now, Amazon will mix and match the words, so but you still want to get them in the exact phrase order. It's like exact match order if at all possible. But Amazon will mix and match words. So if something just doesn't make sense, there's some like crazy keyword that it's not going to read well, but you need to get in there, and say it's 3 characters, 3 words long. You can get 1 word here and 1 word over here and 1 word over here that it reads well and makes sense. That's okay. Amazon will mix and match them as long as that's not one of your like number 1 or top 5 keywords. That's okay. Remember, your first 3 bullet points are super critical. Your very first bullet point needs to create emotional connection. It needs to show why your product is better than the others on Amazon. And those first 3 bullet points is all that shows up a lot of times on mobile. And so your 4th and 5th bullet points should be kind of like the not so important stuff. And also sometimes when in some categories like beauty, for example, if you have long bullet points, only like the first one or maybe the first one and part of the second one will actually even show up on the page. So you want to make sure you capture that attention, make that connection, show that differentiation, especially in that first bullet point, because it's super, super important. And also, try to focus on one mass desire. Don't try to be everything to everybody, and try to focus on one mass desire in your copywriting, and build everything around that if at all possible. And sometimes you can even use rhetorical questions when you do that. You can ask people by asking rhetorical questions, it classifies people. Are you having a problem sleeping at night? When the people in their mind think, oh, yes, I am. And then they'll read the rest of your bullet or the rest of your description. You can use rhetorical questions to automatically classify people or to actually get them kind of on your side. Another thing you might want to do is include a warranty. You could mention that in your bullet points or description, but there's actually a place in the back end that you can put that as well. And Amazon will list that in a special section. So you don't have to waste space for warranty. Some people like to put a money-back guarantee. I really don't recommend that because pretty much everything on Amazon has a money-back guarantee, and most people know that. That used to be an old trick that a lot of people do, and I don't really think that's necessary anymore. Now, when you sit down to actually, before you actually using Scribbles to actually start filling in your listing, one of the best things you can do is just stop for a second and create an avatar, a profile, what your ideal buyer is like, someone that you're going to write to. Because when you're writing your bullet points in your description, you don't want to just be listing a bunch of benefits. You can entice with the benefits, but you don't just want to have benefits. You want to have an emotional connection too. The one thing you want to really stay away from, this is a problem a lot of beginning writers have, is they focus on the features. They'll say this is the loudest stereo, or it's the lightest weight, or something like that, rather than the benefits. The benefits of loudest. Instead of saying this is the loudest one, you would want to say something like, you can hear this stereo from 3 miles away. That's a benefit. Or you would want to say even a small child under 5 can carry this to the beach with no problem. That paints a better picture than saying this is the lightest or this is the loudest. That's a difference between benefits and features. You want to write with the benefits in mind, not just features. You also want to avoid cliches and just unbelievable things. Don't make outlandish claims or things that are just crazy or unbelievable. So be careful on some of the adjectives. Using adjectives can be a really great thing, but you want to be careful in the adjectives that you choose, because it can be a big turnoff for a lot of people and just automatically make them say, this just sounds like a bunch of crud. And so you want to be careful there. If possible, tell a story. Your images are a great place to do this. But if you can, you could, especially in your description, that could be a great place to even tell a story. Maybe you have a product that's a baby product or something, and mothers have really loved this product, and you can actually kind of tell a story of one of your users in the description or in your EBC content. That can have powerful effects, and it can resonate really well with people rather than just here's the benefits. And if you know your avatar, you can really zero in on that and really create some really, really cool stuff. Paint a picture in the customer's mind as they read your stuff. It's not easy to do, but if you do this stuff, it can make huge differences. There's some really good copywriters that specialize in the Amazon space. Some of them have come on the Helium 10 Elite. Actually, 2 of them come to mind if you're once you graduate up to Helium 10 Elite. Another thing you can do is you can tempt with social proof. Amazon really doesn't like you using customer reviews in your listing. Some people will take what the customer said and they'll kind of put it in the listing. You can get away with that maybe, but Amazon technically doesn't really like that. Some people do it in their pictures, but just be careful if you're going to do that. But you can still tempt with social proof by, if you have some sort of other type of social proof, like if you've won some award, your product was the best of the county fair, or it was some other sort of social proof, you can do that, and that can really help. The other thing you can do is you can use emojis. Just be careful, don't overdo them, and make sure the emojis are relevant to your product. Like if you have a exercise piece of equipment, you might want to use the little guy lifting weights or barbells, or if it's a dog thing, use a picture of the dog or something. Make sure it's relevant, not just doesn't look like just some sort of teenager's Instagram page or something where they're just putting crazy stuff in there and putting hearts 10 after another. Make it look professional and clean, and that can be really good too. Another thing in your description is you can use HTML. Amazon says you're not supposed to, but there's 4 tags. I've talked about this in some previous modules. The bold tag, the italic tag, the line break tag, and the paragraph tag. If you look down in the handouts for this module, I'll show you exactly how to use those. So I'm not going to cover it too much here. It's in the handouts, but that can help make your description not just be one big block of text. You can kind of format it so it looks good. Now, once you have brand registry, I would highly recommend you use EBC, Enhanced Brand Content. And the Enhanced Brand Content, you got to be careful. You don't want to use the same pictures that you use in your listing. That's a mistake I see some people make. It's got to be different pictures. And you want to make sure your picture quality is good. Don't be afraid to spend money on your pictures. But the EBC, you can add video, you can add pictures, more copy, more stories. It can really make a difference in your listing if done right. If you do it incorrectly, it could actually hurt your conversion rates. So you got to be careful there. But if it's done right, and Amazon provides you with a number of templates that you can choose from, so you can just fill those in. There are some people out there that specialize in creating EBC content for people if you're not good at graphics, or you can find someone on Upwork probably that can do that for you. But you can test your EBC. If you load EBC, you're still going to keep your description. Don't erase your text description that you've had there, because that's still going to get indexed by the back end. And if something goes wrong with EBC and it doesn't display, or someone's mobile device can't show it or something like that, at least that's there as a backup, as a default. So don't erase that. Some people have taken the description once they have the EBC and they just fill it with keywords, a bunch of gibberish, and trying to help game the system. Don't do that either. Just keep it as it was. If you want to monitor and see what your EBC difference has made, you can go into your business reports in Seller Central, and you can go into look at something about sessions by child, and then you can click on, from there, you can click on detailed reporting by child. And you can actually monitor, like before you put the EBC, see what that is, then wait a couple weeks, and then go back and check that stat again and see what kind of difference it's made. And if you've done it right, it can make between a 3 and 30% difference in your conversion rates if you do it right. And so I highly recommend, once you get brand registered, you at least test out the EBC and see what it can do for you. It's a great additional marketing tool. Now, another thing I want to remind you of when you're doing your copywriting is always remember that there's like 8 or 9 major things that all humans resonate with. So if you can build one or more of these into your copy, it can really help you in your copy. All humans have a need to survive. And survival, it's just built into us all. We don't want to die. We want to survive. So in your copy, if you can somehow emphasize that point of the survival instinct in us all, or play off of that can be really good. Another one of the key emotional, key human needs is enjoyment of food and beverage. So if you're selling some sort of food and beverage, or your product goes with food and beverage, paint a picture of how this is going to make it taste better, or how it's going to make it easier to prepare, or how it's going to impress your friends and family at the next dinner or something. Everybody has a need for that, or it's going to preserve the food longer so it doesn't go bad or something. You can play off of that basic human need. Another basic human need is freedom from fear and pain. We all want to try to avoid fear and pain. So if some way your product will prevent pain, or minimize pain, or keep people from having pain, emphasize that. That can be very powerful in your marketing. Another thing that a human need that you could perhaps play off of is sexual companionship. I mean, if your product somehow, I'm not saying it's a sexual product, but just companionship. If this is going to help you make friends, or help you meet people, or help make your relationship better in some way, emphasize that point in your marketing and in your copy. Another one is everybody has a basic need to live comfortably. No one wants to live on the streets and live in a bad way. Everybody desires to live in a comfortable way. And so if your product will enhance their comfort and their quality of life, their ability to really kick back and just enjoy life, enjoy the good things, emphasize that. That's a basic human need. Another one is superiority. People like to feel superior. So if your products in some way will make someone like the leader of the pack, or will make them the best, or gives them a leg up, or will help them be the winner in something, emphasize that in your copy. Another basic human need is the care of loved ones. If this is going to help protect your children, or this is going to help give your grandmother a better quality of life in her later years, or whatever it is, if you can emphasize that fact that everybody has a desire of a care of loved ones, that can help you in your copywriting. And the last basic human need is social approval. Everybody wants to be socially approved. That's why everybody's a star now on YouTube, the younger generation, and Instagram. People are showing what they did. This is what I ate. This is where I went. This is my vacation. Look at how cool I am. I'm on the coast of France right now. It's because they want social approval. You know, Instagram just recently took away likes because it was causing people were doing stuff to get likes, and people were it was causing problems in social approval because people were doing crazy stuff, and some people were feeling bad because they post something and they wouldn't get likes. So social approval is super important. So if your product will somehow help people socially, their social status, help them move up, or help them feel better about themselves, or look better, that's or become a leader at the office, or whatever it may be, emphasize that in your copywriting. Now, there's one good thing that every marketer needs to know in order to succeed, and that's the difference between a good marketer and a great marketer. So a good marketer will tell the customer what they will have if they get the product. That's a good marketer. This is what you will have if you buy my product. You're going to have the radio that you can hear from 3 miles away, and that it's so light that your 5-year-old kid can carry it on the beach without stumbling. That's a good marketer. That's taking the benefits and painting a picture of them and really telling the benefits, not the features. But what a great marketer does is a great marketer tells people how they're going to feel after that. A great marketer tells people that not only is it the radio that you can hear from 3 miles away, and that your child can carry on the beach, but they're going to tell you how you feel, that you're going to be the leader of the rave party, or everybody's going to think you're cool, or whatever. How are you going to feel after using this product? That's the tricky part, and that's the hard part about great marketing. So I encourage you to try to become a great marketer, not just a good marketer. It's kind of like a before and after. It's like, what are you feeling now? And what is it that you're missing? What my product will do that's missing in your life, or missing, that's going to help you feel better, be better, satisfy one of those basic human needs. If you can accomplish that in your bullets and your descriptions, while at the same time giving the 8-9 algorithm what it wants with all the keywords and everything, you're going to be off to the races, and your sales are going to skyrocket. So I hope this has helped you. And in the next module, we'll talk a little bit more about the next major part of building a listing. I'll see you then.